and welcome to this brief introduction to the Homeric Meditations and Yoga workshop as part of the Homer Summer School at UCL this July. I'm Emily Chow-Cambich. I'm a trained classicist and I'm a yoga teacher and practitioner. And I'm offering this opportunity, this invitation for you to come into this space that we can co-create together to explore themes from Homer's Iliad and Odyssey and how that translates into our embodied and personal experience. So each day, as a part of this workshop, we'll be looking at a different theme from the Iliad and the Odyssey, from themes of heroism to hospitality to storytelling, and how we kind of create our own stories in our own lives, and how sometimes that starts with our embodied experience of ourselves, how that translates into the words we speak about ourselves. So this workshop will really delve into different aspects of the Homeric epics, and we'll root those in the text. So each day we're going to read some passages of the Homeric material, and we'll have group discussion, we'll have personal journaling opportunities, we'll have movement practices and breath practices that will invite us all to reflect on not just a kind of intellectual, objective level, but also a somatic level as to how these concepts from the Homeric epics might be more universalized and personalized for us. Now, yoga has its roots in the epic tradition, in the Bhagavad Gita, which is part of the epic, the Mahabharata, and we'll be drawing some parallels between that and the Homeric epics as we kind of make our way through this series of workshops to honor the tradition of the movement practices that will inspire the kinds of, experiential breath and movement stuff we'll be doing. So for today, I wanted to offer you a sort of taster, a sample of what you will be encountering should you choose to join us for this workshop. And so I thought I'd keep it simple, simple in terms of allowing for the complexity of this concept as it's related in Homer, but a sort of snapshot of something that we might be encountering in our practice together. So today's theme, as it were, is the theme of the thumos. So in Homer's Iliad, we have Achilles, the principal hero Homer chooses to focus on, and he is challenged with whether to kill the leader of the Greek forces, Agamemnon, who has dishonored him, who he believes has dishonored him. And he's debating whether to do this, whether to take this murderous action in his thumos. And for those of you who might want to look to see where this is in the text, it's book 1, lines 192 to 193. So these two lines are very interesting in that they have the thumos in both of them. And the thumos is both the place where Achilles is debating, should I do this? Should I take this irrevocable action that will have severe consequences for me and the men, but will redeem the dishonor that I've suffered? So the thumos is the seat of that debate. But it's also the anger itself. The thumos is also used to describe the impulse that Achilles has to murder. And in that context, the thumos is equated with cholos, with bile, the bile that builds up somewhere around our solar plexus, our belly, that is going to potentially motivate Achilles to kill. So does he take this action? Well, Athena, the goddess Athena, intervenes and makes that decision for him and says, no, stay your sword, Achilles. But looking back to the thumos as this kind of ambiguous definition of, well, it's both the space where Achilles is debating this action, but it's also the impulse to the action itself. It's this ambiguous definition of, are we mastered by our feelings, our impulses? Or are we able to step back and actually create a space within ourselves to process these feelings and impulses? And I thought I would explore that today with you in a practice, following that kind of brief rundown of where that occurs in the text, with focusing on the solar plexus area, the belly region of our bodies. So we'll be doing some breath work here, and we'll be doing some very simple movements to kind of engage this area, draw awareness to this area, and maybe get a sense of whether for us it's the seat of things that we're holding, or whether the kinds of emotions and sensations there are really almost independent of us. So I'll let those lessons, those particular takeaways be yours. But I'll lead you through a practice of just finding the awareness in that space. So wherever you are, you can find yourself in a comfortable seat. You can sit cross-legged or on your heels, your hands on your knees, in either position you choose. You can close your eyes or keep your gaze soft. Just become aware of your breath. In the tradition of yoga as a movement practice, the breath is what inspires every movement we take. It's the impetus, it's the muse that inspires the movements of our bodies, as the muse that Homer invokes to inspire his words. So think of the breath as just that, just allowing it to move through your lungs. Maybe you feel the breath in the upper chest, maybe you feel it pooling in the belly. Just take a moment to observe the natural flow. Maybe some areas where that flow is interrupted. Take 2 more breaths here, just observing the natural inhale and exhale. And now on this next inhale, I'd like you to consciously draw the breath towards the belly, towards the lower abdominals, so that you can place your hands on your belly and actually feel it expand on the inhale. And then draw gently towards your spine on the exhale. And this can be a vulnerable space, a vulnerable activity in this contemporary setting where we're often encouraged to hold in these parts of our body, not to let them really fill out and expand, but see if you can do this for yourself in this moment. And consciously direct the breath in and out of this area. And with every inhale, observe what happens in your spine as your belly expands. Does it result in possibly the lengthening of your spine, the crown of your head towards the sky? Do your shoulders start to drop away from your ears? And with the exhale, do you feel that relationship between the front of your body and the back of your body as your belly moves back towards the spine? Take 3 more breaths like this, just facilitating that awareness, the breath as it moves in and out of this area. Gently blink your eyes open. And now we'll actually work a bit more deeply with the engagement of the belly and the breath, and the relationship between the belly and the spine is facilitated by the breath. So we'll come to hands and knees And you might want to place a blanket under your knees if they're sensitive. And we're going to do some spinal tilts, what we call cat-cow tilts in yoga. So place your hands and your feet firmly on the ground. And as you inhale into the belly, work with that same breath that we were just kind of conjuring in our initial breathing exercise. And drop the belly towards the earth and draw the heart through the great gateway of the arms towards the sky. And as you exhale, consciously round and draw the belly in towards the spine. Engage the abdominal muscles as you press the earth away from you. We'll do 3 more movements just like this, inspired by the breath. Inhale and exhale, round and draw the belly in towards the spine. You can let the head go here. Inhale. Feel how gravity helps to pull the belly, pull the breath into the belly on that inhale. So gravity is drawing the breath into the belly, and on the exhale, you're actually resisting that force and drawing the belly in towards the spine. Beautiful. One more, just like that. And come to a neutral spine. We'll do one more thing here, and we'll really challenge or test the engagement of our belly, and observe the way that it can really help support us in some more challenging postures, slightly more challenging. So on your next inhale, tuck your toes under and lift your knees a couple of inches off the ground. And engage your belly here. Keep breathing, but find a kind of subtle engagement in the lower abdominals to help stabilize you as you hold this posture. Hold here for 3 more breaths. Press through the hands. And on your next exhale, gently drop the knees to the floor and set your hips back towards your heels. Take child's pose here. Draw the breath into the belly and feel what might be different. Is there a tightness there that's residual from engaging these muscles in our previous posture? Or do you feel a letting go, perhaps? On your next inhale, look towards your hands and bring your hips up just over your knees, cross your ankles behind you, and come back into a seat. And we'll close this short practice by just closing your eyes and sitting back on your sitting bones. Feel the lengthening of your spine towards the sky, and taking some nice full belly breaths here. And just allowing the breath to pool there and to draw back on the exhale without manipulating too much these muscles that we just engaged. But just observe, is there a difference in sensation? Is there a difference in thought? Has anything been stirred up for you, released? There's an intelligence in this part of ourselves, in this part of our anatomy. There are quite a few neurons in the gut region that almost make it into a second brain, as it were. So there's opportunities for listening to this, for becoming aware of it, for just using very subtle postures to facilitate a greater appreciation for this center of ourselves and what it might teach us. so you can blink your eyes open if they were closed. Thank you for joining me in this short practice. We can kind of reflect on the thumos here, the seat of willpower, the place where we can stabilize ourselves in some challenging physical positions and some challenging life circumstances. But it's also the place where we might feel this urgency. It's, in Greek tragedy, many of these very vilified women like Medea will consult with her thumos, which could be the space for deliberation of whether to kill her children. It could be the grief in and of itself of her lost love, Jason. So I hope this will inspire you to think about connections between these concepts that we tend to isolate within the ancient context, but we might be able to gain whatever personal curriculum from these, as it were, for our own lives, our own relationship with our bodies, our creative selves, which I hope we can do through some journaling exercises in this workshop series, and just the way that we operate in the world. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the Homeric Meditations and Yoga module.